The crisp autumn air hung heavy with laughter as children raced across the playground, their sneakers kicking up clouds of orange and brown leaves. Among them, a little boy named Daniel clung to the swings, his bright smile hiding the quiet shyness he carried into every room. His mother, Emily Carter, sat on the nearby bench, her eyes carefully watching him. To anyone passing by, Emily looked like an ordinary single mom, soft-spoken, introverted, the type who avoided unnecessary conversations. She wore a simple cardigan and jeans, her hair pulled back in a loose bun. She looked approachable yet distant, like a woman quietly carrying the weight of her world. What no one knew was that beneath that gentle exterior, Emily was a highly trained FBI agent who had faced threats that would paralyze the bravest of men. She had chosen this park because it was Daniel's favorite. But on that day, something unexpected shattered the peace. A group of teenagers, loud and arrogant, strutted toward the playground. They were the kind of bullies who fed off vulnerability, and when their eyes landed on Daniel, alone, smaller than the others, they smirked. "Hey, look at the little baby still swinging!" one of them sneered. The others laughed, circling closer. Daniel's smile faded. He glanced at his mother, his hands gripping the swing's chains tighter. He wanted to be brave, but the taunts dug into him. Emily's heart clenched, but she remained seated. She knew the difference between rushing to protect her son and teaching him resilience. Still, the mother in her burned with anger. She forced herself to stay calm, observing every movement of the boys. When one bully shoved Daniel lightly, Emily stood. Her quiet presence alone made some of the kids pause, but the ringleader sneered. "What's the matter, lady? Your little boy too scared to fight back? Maybe you should tell him the world's not for weaklings." Emily's lips pressed into a thin line. She wanted to end this quickly, but showing her true identity wasn't part of her plan. She took Daniel's hand and gently pulled him close. "We're leaving," she said softly. But the bullies didn't stop. They followed, mocking her shyness. "Figures. Mommy's boy runs away," they jeered. Daniel's eyes welled with tears, not from fear, but from humiliation. And that was the moment Emily made a choice. She crouched down, wiped his cheek, and whispered, "Sometimes people mistake kindness for weakness. But they don't know who we really are." Straightening, she turned back to the bullies, her voice calm yet sharp. "That's enough." The leader laughed. "Or what? You gonna call the cops?" Emily reached into her bag, pulled out her FBI badge, and held it up for them to see. The gold glimmered in the sunlight. "No, I am the cops." Silence fell over the group. The boys' cocky smirks crumbled into pale disbelief. Emily's gaze hardened, but her tone stayed controlled. "You think picking on smaller kids makes you strong. It doesn't. It makes you weak. If I see you harassing anyone here again, I'll make sure every single one of your parents understands exactly what you're doing. And I promise you, that conversation won't be pretty." The boys shifted uncomfortably. Without another word, they scattered, muttering under their breaths but too shaken to look back. Daniel stared at his mom with wide eyes. You scared them away." Emily knelt down to his level, placing her hands gently on his shoulders. "Not because I'm an FBI agent, Danny, but because I didn't let fear control me. And neither should you. You're stronger than you think." Your tears brimmed in his eyes again, but this time they weren't from shame. They were from pride. The rest of the park seemed to come alive again, the laughter of children, the crunch of leaves, the gentle hum of life moving forward. But for Daniel, everything had changed. He looked at his mother not just as the quiet, shy woman who walked him to school every day, but as the strongest person he had ever known. That evening, as they headed home, Emily reflected on what had happened. She had always tried to shield her son from the darkness she encountered in her job. Yet today taught her something new. That courage wasn't about drawing a gun, tackling a criminal, or flashing a badge. Sometimes, courage was simply standing tall when the world tried to push you down. Emily smiled as she watched Daniel skip ahead of her. One day, he would understand the full weight of her words. For now, it was enough to know that he felt safe and inspired. The shy single mom wasn't just raising a boy. She was raising a young man who would carry the strength of her lessons for the rest of his life. And though the world would never know, the playground bullies had unknowingly crossed paths with an FBI agent, and more importantly, with a mother whose love was her greatest weapon.